The placement of Mars in the 8th house is one of the most potent, complex, and intensely felt positions in a natal chart. To understand this energy, one must first look at the archetypal collision occurring here. Mars, the planet of action, desire, and raw willpower, resides in the house of Scorpio, traditionally ruled by Mars itself, and Pluto. This is a double dose of Martian energy, but because the 8th house is a succedent, water house, that energy doesn't fly outward like a firework. Instead, it simmers like geothermal pressure beneath the Earth's crust. The nature of desire and drive. When Mars inhabits the 8th house, the individual's drive is rarely superficial. You are not motivated by simple accolades or the mere thrill of the chase. You are driven by a need for total transformation and soul-level intimacy. There is a do-or-die quality to your ambitions. Whether it is a career goal, a creative project, or a personal relationship, you approach it with a level of intensity that can be both magnetic and intimidating to others. This is the house of other people's resources, which includes inheritance, taxes, and joint finances. With Mars here, you may find yourself fiercely protective of your financial independence, or perhaps you engage in high-stakes power struggles regarding shared assets. You have a natural instinct for the undercurrents of the material world, often sensing a good investment or a hidden catch long before others do. The crucible of intimacy. In the realm of psychology and sexuality, the traditional domains of the 8th house, Mars acts as a probe. You don't just want to know your partner, you want to merge with them, understand their shadows, and perhaps even challenge them to evolve. For you, intimacy is a battlefield and a sanctuary combined. There is often a profound courage in facing the taboo. While others shy away from discussions of death, trauma, or deep-seated fears, you head straight for the center of the storm. This makes you an incredible ally in a crisis. When the world is falling apart, the 8th house Mars person is the one who remains calm, energized by the high stakes, and ready to take decisive action while others are paralyzed by shock. The shadow and the struggle. The challenge of this placement lies in its volatility. Mars is the god of war, and in the house of secrets, that war is often internal or subterranean. There can be a tendency toward compulsiveness or a scorched earth policy when you feel betrayed. Because your emotions are so deeply tied to your sense of power, a threat to your vulnerability can trigger a massive defensive strike. You may also struggle with a crisis addiction. Because you feel most alive when you are navigating deep waters or overcoming significant obstacles, you might unconsciously create drama or seek out high-stress situations just to feel the rush of your own strength. Learning to find peace in the mundane without feeling like you are stagnating is a lifelong lesson for this placement. Evolution and mastery. Ultimately, Mars in the 8th house is the mark of the alchemist. Your life is likely punctuated by deaths and rebirths, periods where your old self is burned away by the heat of your experiences, allowing a more resilient version of you to emerge. The goal for someone with this placement is to master the art of controlled release. Instead of letting the Martian energy build up into an explosive resentment or a destructive obsession, you must learn to channel it into research, psychological self-mastery, or healing arts. You have the unique ability to go into the darkest corners of the human experience and bring back light. When you harness this energy, you become a powerhouse of endurance. You possess a phoenix-like quality that ensures no matter how many times life knocks you down, you will return with more wisdom and a sharper edge than before. You are not just a survivor, you are someone who thrives in the deep end, turning the lead of trauma into the gold of personal power. When Mars occupies the 8th house, the sign it falls in dictates the flavor of the intensity and how that subterranean energy is expressed. Fire signs, the radiant heat. Aries, this is Mars in its home turf. The drive for transformation is immediate and impulsive. You may experience sudden, dramatic shifts in life and possess a fearless approach to physical and psychological intimacy. Leo, here, the 8th house energy is expressed with drama and pride. You are fiercely protective of your legacy and your partners. There is a royal intensity to your sexual and emotional bonds, you demand total loyalty. Sagittarius, you are the explorer of the forbidden. Your drive is directed toward finding the truth behind life's mysteries. You may be a risk-taker with shared resources, fueled by a philosophical belief in your own resilience. Earth signs, the subterranean pressure. Taurus, this is a heavy, sensual placement. Mars is in its detriment here, making the energy slow to build but incredibly persistent. You seek security through deep, tangible bonds and can be extremely possessive of your territory. Virgo, intensity is channeled into analysis and perfection. You may be the surgeon of the zodiac, dissecting psychological problems or financial data with clinical precision. You find power in the details of transformation. Capricorn, this is Mars in exaltation. You possess incredible mastery over your impulses. You approach the mysteries of the 8th house with a strategic, long-term plan, often gaining significant power through discipline and inherited structures. Air signs, the mental probe. Gemini, your curiosity drives you into the deep end. You want to talk about the taboo and intellectually dissect the shadow side of life. Power struggles for you are often verbal or intellectual games of chess. Libra, here, Mars is in detriment, focusing the energy on the other. Your drive is often triggered by your partner's needs or actions. You may struggle to balance your own desires with the demands of a joint union. Aquarius, you are the rebel of the 8th house. Your approach to intimacy and shared resources is unconventional. You may seek to revolutionize social taboos or engage in experimental psychological pursuits. Water signs, the deep current. Cancer, your drive is fueled by a need for emotional security. This is a highly protective and psychic placement. You sense threats to your inner circle long before they manifest, acting as a fierce guardian of the soul. Scorpio, this is Mars at its most potent and traditional. The energy is laser-focused, secretive, and incredibly resilient. You possess an unparalleled ability to regenerate yourself after a crisis and can read people with unsettling accuracy. Pisces, your Martian energy is diffused into the spiritual or the subconscious. Your wars are often fought on a psychic level. You may sacrifice your own power for others, or find your greatest strength through surrender and mysticism. When Mars transits your natal 8th house, the cosmic warrior descends into the deepest, most private cavern of your chart. This transit, which typically lasts about 6 to 7 weeks, is a period of intense psychological pressure, financial reevaluation, and heightened desires. It is often described as a cleansing fire, an energetic force that burns away what is stagnant to make room for renewal. The stirring of the unconscious. The 8th house is the realm of the underworld, representing everything we keep hidden from polite society, our deepest fears, sexual impulses, and psychological traumas. As Mars passes through, it acts as a searchlight. You may find yourself feeling uncharacteristically edgy or irritable without an obvious external cause. This is often because Mars is agitating old emotional debris. During this time, you aren't interested in small talk. You are drawn to the why behind your behaviors. It is an excellent period for therapy, shadow work, or any form of deep self-inquiry. The energy here is visceral. You may experience vivid dreams or a sudden urge to confront a person or situation you've been avoiding for months. Financial and shared resources. On a more mundane level, the 8th house governs other people's money. This includes debts, taxes, inheritances, and joint bank accounts. When Mars transits here, financial matters often reach a boiling point. The conflict, you might find yourself in a heated dispute over a shared expense or a legal settlement. The action, conversely, this is a powerful time to aggressively pay down debt or to finally tackle complex paperwork like wills or tax returns. Mars provides the get-it-done energy required to handle these heavy administrative burdens, but it also increases the risk of being too forceful. The key is to be assertive about your needs without becoming combative with those who share your resources. Intimacy and power dynamics. In relationships, a Mars transit through the 8th house shifts the focus from dating and fun, 5th house, or partnership and balance, 7th house, to power and merging. This is a highly sexualized transit, but it isn't always light energy. It is intense, demanding, and transformative. You may feel a stronger than usual need for deep connection, but this can manifest as possessiveness or jealousy if not handled consciously. There is a power struggle element to this transit. You are testing the strength of your bonds. If a relationship is built on a shaky foundation, Mars in the 8th will likely expose the cracks. However, for healthy relationships, this can be a time of incredible passion and a deepening of trust as you navigate the dark together. Safety and vitality. Because Mars rules the blood, surgery, and sharp objects, and the 8th house is traditionally associated with emergencies, ancient texts often warned of accidents during this transit. In a modern context, this simply means slow down. The 8th house is a hidden house, meaning your energy level may feel lower than usual or more erratic. If you try to push through your physical limits with the typical Martian brute force, you may find yourself prone to burnout or minor injuries. The best way to use this energy is internally. Redirect the warrior inward to fight your own demons rather than picking fights in the external world. The outcome, the Phoenix effect. When Mars finally leaves the 8th house and crosses your 9th house cusp, you often feel a profound sense of relief. The transit is designed to be a crucible. By the end of these few weeks, you have likely faced a fear that was holding you back, resolved a lingering financial or shared resource issue, deepened your understanding of your own psychological blueprints. You emerge from an 8th house transit like a phoenix, shaking off the ashes of an old version of yourself, leaner and more empowered for the journey ahead. Subscribe, like, and share.